Music rose around me, faint at first. A piece my mother used to play on the piano. A rare instrument, a complex thing of wires and keys and hammers, ancient, but the notes she scattered from her right hand were clear and high, pure like stars against the black and rolling melody from her left. Sometimes just a single, ice-pure note can catch the breath in your lungs, and a second, off-tempo, thrown into the void, can command chills across your skin. A small run, a flutter of the hand over the blue notes, can take you anywhere, anytime, make you feel new or settle the press of years upon you, heavy enough to stop you drawing breath. What's up guys, so welcome to my channel. This is Fantasy Talk. My name is Chase, and today I am going to be reviewing King of Thorns, Book 2 in Broken Empire Trilogy. So before I get into the spoiler review, I do want to say for people who have not read Prince of Thorns or are interested in the series, this is the Broken Empire Trilogy by Mark Lawrence. There are 3 books, Prince of Thorns, King of Thorns, and Emperor of Thorns. I do already have a Prince of Thorns spoiler-free review, so if you'd like to check that out, I'll link it up above. And something I wanted to discuss that I did not get into in that video is an aspect of this series that I think people should be aware of before they go into reading it. The main character, Jorg Ankrath, the protagonist that you follow, is not just a bad person. He is flat out a killer, a torturer, a rapist. You know, you probably want to know that before you go buy a book or anything like that, because if that's going to immediately turn you off and that's not your thing, then I don't fault anyone who thinks that, you know, this has gone too far or this is pushing past a line that, you know, really we shouldn't go past. So now we'll get into the spoiler section of the review. So I finished this last night. I was able to sleep on it and really settle how I felt about this book. I gave it 5 stars again on Goodreads because this is just as good as Prince of Thorns, except the plotting is better and everything that was done in that book is ratcheted up to a new level in this book. I felt like while the plot was heavily foreshadowed, so you could say it was predictable, for me it wasn't about how predictable the plot was or what was actually going to happen. I was pretty sure what was going to happen, but what was going to happen was so terrible in so many aspects that I was really just hoping along the way that Jorg would make another decision. And so when we got to the part where he was going to kill his brother, and when he made that decision not to, I was so relieved. But then you get uppercutted with the knowledge that he killed him anyways because of Mark Lawrence's freaking brilliant writing and all the foreshadowing with the little bit of necromancy that he has in his body. But what really broke me wasn't even that he killed his brother. It was that he, for the most of the book, he had started to become more of an acceptable person. Like, he refrained from doing a lot of the things that in Prince of Thorns he would have not thought twice about. What broke me was that all of that just got reversed. You know, never open the box. But he freaking opened the box. He became what he had to be to win, but what he has to be to win is just disgusting. So some things that I just really liked about this book. Number one, this book is way funnier than it has a right to be. Like, Mark Lawrence is so good at injecting humor even in these dark situations. Like, Jorg is way too funny, and that's another thing I love is, like, I kind of have to, like, fight not to like him because I don't want to like him, but he's the protagonist. Like, I feel like I'm being put in a horrible situation where I have to root for this person that is just awful, and I don't want to. But it's not just humor that Mark Lawrence is really good at injecting. Like, he saturates this book with just small wisdoms and like little turns of phrase that just like really capture me. Like, everything he writes just seems to speak to me on like some deep level. Page for page, this is like some of the best fantasy fiction there is because he does in 400 words what it takes other authors like 1,000 words to do. And I'm not by any means pooping on those other authors. I'm just saying his efficiency is something that I've not seen so far. Something I said in the Prince of Thorns review was that I felt that Mark Lawrence didn't give the brothers enough characterization. And I just want to like take all that back because it's done so subtly, and I appreciate it so much more now in this book because just little by little, the little vignettes that he writes, plus just little interactions with the brothers, I think Jorg becoming more human-like and noticing more about the brothers and what he appreciates about them or doesn't. You know, I think that was really good in Prince of Thorns. It was an artistic choice by Mark Lawrence not to have him notice these things about his brothers as much because he was so focused on revenge and just keeping going towards his goal. Whereas now, like he said, he's stagnated for 4 years and that'll never happen again. But in those 4 years, he actually grew to know his brothers on a deeper level. And something I thought was really funny was every time he's like guessing people's names, he's like, yeah, Roderick, right? And he's just like hoping that it's Roderick, or he's like, Hamish, yeah, you're Hamish. Another thing I think Mark Lawrence doesn't get enough credit for is his prose. Everything just flows, like the word choices are perfect. They don't feel out of place. Another thing in the Prince of Thorns review I said I really wanted was more world building, and he definitely delivered on that. The magic systems are more fleshed out, the way the fire and the necromancy came to establish themselves in the narrative and how they kind of cancel each other out and leaving him basically back at square one. Another really unique aspect of this book that I really loved was the memory box. It kind of reminds me of Dalinar from Stormlight, like taking away a memory that's so painful that it would destroy you. But the wrinkle that was different was being able to store memories of his plans for battle and then kind of slowly recall them as he needed them. I'm sorry this isn't really a more structured review. I'm just like kind of like basking in the glow of this book. Like, I loved it so much. Jorg's character is somehow becoming more complex. The magic system is getting more fleshed out. The world is getting bigger. I've heard somebody say that this book is their favorite of the series, and I can totally see that. I really hope Emperor of Thorns at least closes it out really nicely. And I'll be honest, I do want to see Jorg become a little bit redeemed. Like, I want him to be a better person. I don't think anything will ever absolve him. I feel like if we can get to where he understands at least how to mimic a good person's behavior and stops doing the things that make him repulsive, even if he doesn't truly believe in what he's doing for the actual sake of it, as long as he's doing the right thing, that's kind of where I want him to at least end up. I want to know, if I recommend this series to someone, that he's just not going to be this little shit for the entire series. Like, I do want him by the end of the series to be someone that you can say, okay, like, that's a person that is actually an anti-hero rather than just an awful human being that I'm being forced to follow. Please hit the like button if you enjoyed this video and subscribe to my channel for updates on new content coming. Thank y'all, and y'all have a good one. See you next time. Peace.